Know this. Introducing the original blood clot podcast, not players. Soothing Semantics. Special dedication all the way from New York. Boom. Yeah, man. SWOT Semantics. Yeah, me know. Boom. Soothing Semantics. Yeah, me know. Big ups to the man now. Soothing Semantics.
On another episode of Soothing Semantics, I'm your host, Rafi Pinsky. Make sure to subscribe, smash the like button, leave a comment, share the episode with your friends, family, and next door neighbor. Today, we have John Tsai from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, another Canadian realtor. I've had several Canadian agents in the last few months, so it's a pleasure to have you on, John. Thanks for coming.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And, I'm glad we can make it work. And, I'll share, whatever I can to help the audience produce at a high level.
For sure. Awesome. So to get into it real quick, I watched a few of your TikToks, and I'm going to post all your social media just to make that clear. And somebody went over to you and asked you how you went from making $24,000 to $2.5 million a year. So you got your psychology degree, and then you worked selling jeans, and the most you made was 24 grand. So tell us a little bit about the transition from your degree to where you are now.
Yes,
talk about the jeans. I'm curious about the jeans selling. How you got it? You didn't want to become a shrink?
I think how it all started was I met this guy in Taiwan. I was working out at that time, and he was retired at 42 years old. And I was like, man, I see you every single day. And this is like a midday on a Tuesday afternoon. I'm like, who are you and what do you do? He said, I'm retired. And I said, how? And he said, well, I built a language school, and I've since sold that. I invested in real estate here in Taiwan, and I create rent checks. My residual income, my passive income exceeds my monthly expenses. I'm financially free. I said, wow, 42 years old. Here I am, 22 years old. What should I do? He said, go and read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Right? I said, okay, great. So I go and read the book. I've never read an entire book in my life up until that point. I'm not a very smart guy, but
you had never read a book in your entire life completely until you were 22.
Correct.
Because it's interesting, real quick, when you see, people are always judging to some degree, right? We always have our initial assumptions. And when I first, met you in the Wednesday calls, I was like, he seems like a really smart guy. And I'm not saying you're not, but you definitely struck me as the type that read a lot of books.
Oh man, thank you. And well, it's funny enough, it's been 20 years exactly since that day, that time when I was 22 years. I'm 42 today. Right. And so up until that time, it was reading to pass the test. It was reading snippets to pass the test. It was always like, what's the shortest way? So that was the only book that I read from beginning to end. I didn't get much from the book, except, this real estate thing could really work. Passive income exceeds my monthly expenses. So I go, okay, let me get into real estate. And I procrastinated 4 years until I got my real estate license. So after I met that gentleman, I'm like, man, what am I going to do? I was still at getting my psychology degree. So I went and applied for a job at a local jean shop, and I sold jeans. And I actually learned a lot about sales. I learned a lot about how to talk to people, how to even say hi and say, how are you? I had no social skills before that. Right. My highest year, I sold 24,000, highest commission. I was like, man, I'm balling out of control here. Because 23 years old, whatever, right? But
all you made was 24,000, or your biggest sale was 24,000?
No, my biggest year that year. I was 25 years old at that time. Yeah, I was happy doing that. And all the the hot chicks would come to that shop, you know, and I was just having the time of my life, just partying, you know, traveling all over Asia, traveling in the States. But
so 24,000 US or Canadian dollar equivalent. So that was a yes. So
Canadian.
what was that? So how would you, and you were doing that there in Taiwan, or am I missing something?
I came back here to Vancouver. So that was my summer vacation. I came back here. I applied for the job. So I was working while I was going to school. Right. And then after that, I worked for another few years after getting out of school, getting my degree, and I was selling jeans. And then finally, by 26 years old, I finally got my license and I started selling real estate. And selling real estate, I thought, okay, I got the ticket now, right? You know, business was just going to flow. Right.
Like everyone else thinks. It's funny.
It is, right? And you see all those agents. I'm like, man, that guy drives a nice car. He's not a very smart guy. Geez, I could do this. Right. So I got in, but in the first 6 months, I'm like, wow, like, what am I doing here? I made $2,500 in my first 6 months. I did 2 deals. I did some showings for my mentor, and I was like, okay, here you go. And I said, wow, is this it? And all the old guys at my office were like, that kid has no idea what this is all about. I'm like, you're right. I have no idea what's going on. I would go to the office by 11 o'clock. I would sleep till 10 o'clock, go to the office by 11 o'clock, surf Facebook, have lunch with my mentors in the office, and then surf Facebook again until I'm like, okay, I got nothing else to do. It's 4 o'clock. We should go home. My broker called me over. He's like, John, come on in. I said, what's going on? He's like, oh, I need you to listen to this tape. This tape. I put it in my car, and it was a tape of Mike Ferry. Coaching. And I said, wow, this guy's pretty intense. Right. And then I started to look into his stuff, you know, online here and there. And somehow, some way, like I did really well in my second year. My first full year, 2007, I did 17 transactions. And for a 27-year-old guy getting into real estate, making $100,000, you're like, geez, I made it. I went and bought my girlfriend a purse, went and bought her jewelry, and went and bought an X5. At that time, it was like, you know, $89,000, $90,000. My payments were $1,200 a month. And I'm like, I've made it. And next thing you know, the market crashed in 2008. And by that time, I was already $15,000, $20,000 in debt. By 2008, that year, I made $48,000. I was like, okay, well, you know, my career's over, but I still got these car payments. Right? So that's when somehow, some way, Mike sent me an email saying, come on down to Newport Beach. And
when you say sent you an email, he sent one of those blast emails to everyone, and you just got it?
I sent those blast emails. I must have registered somewhere, and he sent me a blast email, and then you know, and I went. My sister lives in LA. I said, okay, well, I don't have money for, you know, hotels and whatnot. At least I could stay in West Covina and drive down to Newport Beach with my sister's car. Right. And I was so broke. You know, I went there to the seminar. I forgot my wallet. I didn't really have that much money anyways. And this guy, Carlos Heron, I think he's still in real estate today. He's like, man, you got no money? Can I offer you some food? I'm like, yes. He gave me $10 for food, man. And then I'm like, dude, I'm out of gas. He's like, he gave me $10 to drive back to West Covina.
Oh my God.
Wow. And then the next day, obviously I paid him back with my sister's money. I'm like, you know, $80,000 in debt. Where am I going to go, man? And I'm looking at the register form in the back, and I'm like, should I sign up? It's $1,000 a month, one-on-one coaching, and it's $1,500 because of the exchange rate. And the guy came up to me and said, this is the only way, man. This is the only way to keep your head above water. Go back there and sign up. It wasn't even one of the salespeople. It's like, this is the only way.
Who said that? He sounds like a zombie, bro.
Just an agent. He was just an agent there. He's like, it's the only.
But you told him your entire situation, and he just said, go do it.
I you know, he saw me. I was young, right? Okay. And I'm looking at the register form, like scared shitless.
And how'd you even pull it together? How did you afford it? Credit cards?
Yeah. You know, at the end of my, you know, debt situation, not the end of my debt situation, but like the deepest I got was 90,000 approximately. Okay. That was, you know, 6 months into my coaching. and I had made 0 sales for 6 months. And then, however, that those 9 months, you know, in 2009, March to the end of the year, you know, I was prospecting for 6 months now, right? And I got a little bit of momentum, but I always got rejected, never got listings, never got, you know, buyers to buy with me for 6 months. And then all of a sudden, everything came together. And then the market recovers. I was like, oh, thank God. I did 33 transactions that 9 months. And I paid down some of the debt, right? But the journey was like, okay, 33 transactions that 2009, and then 2010, 39 transactions, 2011, 51 transactions, and then backwards to 45, 59, so on and so forth. But all those years I was in debt. So I was very motivated to get things going. And I never quit coaching. No matter how tough it got, I never quit coaching. Right. But when you have that something at stake is like a fire underneath your ass, you just kept going. I couldn't give. What was I supposed to do? Go back to selling jeans?
Right. Exactly.
How was I supposed to pay off my debt of $80,000, $90,000? Right. So I just kept with it. And, you know, things were tough, but you know what, like looking back, like it made me who I am today, that I will never want to feel like that again. Right. So that's my journey up until then. Paid off my debt by 2013. I was like, oh shit, I'm clear. But I went in and out of debt though, even after that. Right. Because markets don't always go up, and sometimes you overspend. And I was still stupid with money. Right. You know, you get a big check and, you know, spend everything, and you're like, oh, okay, or you go buy real estate, whatever. And then at the end of the year, you're like, oh, I still got a $30,000 tax bill that I didn't pay. Oh, realtors are notorious for managing money. I don't know about yourself, but I was, right? But
no, I mean, it's not that I'm bad at managing money. It's just like when you're early on in your career, you don't have a ton of deals. You know?
No.
So it's tough, man. It's a struggle. You gotta fight through it. It's tough for sure.
I scraped by for many years, even up until 2016, when I did first time I closed over 110 transactions, but closed and pending was 149, and I had made just over $1 million. And I'll tell you, I was just scraping by with $1 million.
Because just over all your investments, mortgages, things like that. How were you just scraping by?
Scraping by because I bought real estate out of ego, Rafi. Right? In Vancouver here, you need at least 30 to 35% down to cash flow. I bought properties at 20% down here and there. I'm like, okay, well, I got the cash, but I didn't want to put that much more down. So I would buy $1 million homes, put 20% down, so from my commissions. And that was a mistake too, because I didn't have a holding company. So I took it out of my personal income to pay for that. So then I had to pay taxes on that money that I didn't really have, right? And then I was still in debt. And then every month it was taking a few $1,000s out of my account.
Oh God.
So for young agents, don't buy out of ego. I bought out of ego so I could say, hey guys, I do 100 deals a year and I have 8 properties.
Right.
Now people don't know they're all taking money. And, you know, at the end of the day, I was negative every single month. So when the market goes down just that little bit, it was scary. It was like, oh shit, where am I going to go? Right. So even when I was making $1 million, I was in that situation. I had a lot of assets, but it didn't matter. Right. So I was in and up and down 2017, 18, and then 2019, we joined a new company. And that's when, you know, things started to change a bit because I met some people that helped me build a team, like a real team, not just an ego team. Right. So ego team is like me, the listing agent, right? Top agent on the team. And then everybody else just eats off my scraps.
Right.
That's an ego team. They service me. Right. And then 2019, I met a lot of team leaders and they leveraged their team completely different way. Now the team is like, okay, wait a minute. This like roles reverse. I work for these guys. I service these guys so they can service the clients. So I'm providing a service to the agents so they can thrive in a big way. Not like I'm the big agent, I'm the ego John Tsai, and then they service me. Right.
Totally.
And when that started to change, I was recruiting a little bit easier because they were like, okay, they could see that the agents on the team were thriving and that I was helping them thrive. So then the more agents you recruit on the team, obviously the more revenues means better for the bottom line. And finally, at this point in my career, I'm out of production. And this year we're on track for approximately 280 to 290 transactions.
So you're not in production anymore?
I'm not in production anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, I still talk to clients, obviously, right? When clients call me, I vet those calls and hey, and then I would, then refer, or, I'll say my partner is going to reach out to you to meet with you, to see the house, to price the home. And, I'll be in the background, I'll oversee the whole thing, but my partner is going to take over now.
Right.
And some
do they ever have a quarrel? Yeah, you said some do, some don't. What do they say when they want you to work with them?
John, I only want you. Right. And I said, no problem. I'll be in the background. I'll be negotiating. I'll be helping Michael through the process. And sometimes it doesn't work out and we lose clients that way. But through building the team, through getting out of production, you kind of have to be okay with losing some clients.
Yeah, there are going to be people that are going to be upset and kind of resentful towards it. But if you want to have a certain structure, you have to stick with your guns. Yeah.
You have to. And I'm at this point where, we've lost some clients, but we've learned from it. We've gotten better from it and we built better systems for it so that it becomes more seamless when past clients come in and say, okay, no, we get it. We get it, John. And now clients, when I call, I love these calls like, John, I'm looking to sell my house. Who can you send over to take a look at the property and get it listed? Who can you send over? I'm like,
I understand.
Now we've gotten to this point where systems are set up and clients now know I'm no longer on the ground.
Right.
So that's kind of like my journey. And, at this point, I'm more focused on, because I have my own podcast. We'd love to have you on sometime as well. Podcasting, building content, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all that, to be able to help more agents is my goal. And at the same time, when I do that, my team gets bigger because recruiting becomes so much easier because I'm providing a lot of value.
For sure. By the way, I think your baby wants to come on too. Yeah, very vocal. Yeah, she's definitely she has something to share. So I don't know if you want to.
Okay, come on in.
I don't know if it's a he or a she.
It's a she. Yeah,
I just had a feeling. I had a feeling it was a girl.
And then my older one, who's also a girl, she's almost 4 years old.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, so I got two of them.
I can't believe you're 40, man. It's crazy. You look so young, dude.
Thank you. I'm 42 crazy. Actually. So what's funny, Rafi? When I think back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm that guy in the gym, right? Now, when young agents come up to me and they're like, hey, I want to do what you do, and I'm passing it down, just like that guy passed it to me.
Right.
So that full circle. It's weird.
Yeah, I'm not at that point at all yet. I'm still in like that earlier stage where I'm talking to people like you. Hello, little one.
This is Kaylee.
You have anything to say?
Yeah. Now.
Hi, Kaylee.
Can you say hi? Yeah, you're just yelling at me. Hey. All right.
Do you think she's going to be your little protege?
You know what? I'm not sure. I want my girls to come into real estate, but if they have a passion for it, I will support them 1,000%. It's what I do right now is, making money. Yeah, that's one thing. But the thing is, I want to be able to give them the resources to have them be able to pursue their passion.
Right.
And I think that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, where I am at is like I want to pull back on production so I can chase another passion. And my passion right now is coaching and mentoring. Right. And I had the opportunity to do that. But when I was in production myself, I had no opportunity to just say, hey, you know what? I'm no longer going to sell. I'm just going to coach and mentor. I still needed to grind that commission.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I'm looking forward to getting to the point where I can coach him in it. Cause like I really enjoy being able to give over like knowledge that I have and see that it's working for people, because when you see that it benefits them, it gives you really feels amazing. So I don't have
Exactly.
I just don't have
And
the
that's what
credibility.
that's what Aaron Novello does, right? I mean, Aaron,
Totally.
he's a complete legend. Even when we first started, he was already a legend, a couple years in. We always heard about Aaron, this mystique of a guy,
Right.
right? And back in Mike Ferry days, and he got kicked out pretty quick. Like 5 years in, he started coaching agents and Mike kicked him out.
Why? Because he was coaching agents?
Exactly. And Mike doesn't want coaches in his organization, because then it would be a conflict of interest. Yeah. So
What's
that's
funny is, yeah, Ferry is they're so well known, but like, have they actually sold real estate really?
Mike has, Tom hasn't.
So why are they so revered? Obviously, they know what they're talking about if so many people use them, but doesn't it make you wonder? Like for me, I always had a hard time wrapping my head around it because they didn't have experience in the field the same way Aaron does, for instance. So I don't like, how do they have so much info? Why is it's just interesting. It's like yeah, I guess you have coaches in sports that never played the game, but usually they had some sort of experience on the field. A lot of them used to be pros. And it's just like, if you haven't done it, then why are you so passionate about teaching it? No, doesn't it make you wonder?
It's really weird. But the thing is, you got to look at it this way. Mike sold real estate. He did 180 transactions in his first year in real estate, right?
180 in his first year?
First year in the 1970s, he did 180 transactions by cold calling, door knocking.
How did he do that? His first year?
Dude, his first year. And then he figured it out. And then he went into coaching. Right. And when he went into, obviously he was, his mentors are like W. Clement Stone, even Tom, what's his name? Tom, I'm blanking out right here. Tom is still coaching today. What's his name?
I don't know who you're talking about.
He's too old for you then.
Evidently.
But Mike Ferry, since then he's been coaching. So after selling 180 transactions, he's like,
did he do that in his first year? How is that possible?
Door knocked and
but he got every single client he called. How did he do that?
Every single day he would call, expires for sale by owners, just listed, just sold. And if the lead didn't want to sell with him for 7 to 10 days, he would throw them away and he would go out and find another one. That's the Mike Ferry system. Every lead is 7 to 10 days. If they're not selling or buying in the next 7 to 10 days, you're gone. So he just kept churning.
Yeah, but he doesn't do follow-up?
No. Follow-up would be if you're selling and buying in the next 7 to 10 days. If you're not, the lead card he would throw out. That's how you do 180. But he was
don't you miss out on that? Because don't you miss out on a potential client then? Because some people are just not ready in 7 to 10 days. They'll sell sooner. I don't know. They'll sell a little later.
Exactly. But Mike was only in business selling real estate for a couple of years, right? So you churn and burn. He didn't really need a database. But after that, he started coaching. So his experience is actually mostly in coaching for 47 years, right? And that's why Mike is respected. And so Tom grew up watching Mike coaching agents.
Mm-hmm.
So he grew up as a coach in real estate,
right?
And he studied real estate all his life. So yes and no. You could say he never sold real estate. How does he know what we go through? But he's watched it all his life, ever since he was born.
Right.
So again, I mean, as long as they're coaching clients.
It's just so interesting that like one of the biggest real estate coaches in the game never even did it himself. Does it? It's a mind blowing.
And Tom Ferry
it's
is,
like, how difficult it is and challenging it is. It's like, I do, but you don't. Meaning like he does, but he doesn't. You get me?
He does, but he doesn't. Yeah. And he's number 1 right now. I think he's surpassed Mike. All his summits are way bigger.
It's so crazy.
But
crazy. He's very, very charismatic. Both of them are. They're very charismatic. They definitely fit the bill. But yeah, it's just interesting for me. Like Aaron is nowhere near as known as they are. But there's a thing for me, man. It's very hard for me to follow in someone's footsteps and learn from them and be mentored by them if they weren't in the shit that I was. Like I don't know. If I knew they crawled through the shit, it's just, it makes it a lot more relatable. I feel like I can really resonate with them.
You know, Aaron even says this himself. I think it's not so much about the service, but it's a lot more about the selling of the service that matters, the marketing of the service that matters.
Right.
So although Aaron probably is a better coach, he has a better coaching program, but Tom and Mike know how to market their services in a big way.
Oh yeah.
Mind you, Aaron will probably get there, right? But Tom and Mike have figured it out.
Yeah, no, it's a certain personality they have. They know how to get their name out there for sure.
Exactly.
I mean, they're so big in the game already. But anyway, off of the coaching, I just kind of wanted to get into the what really shifted in allowing you to close as many transactions as you have. What has allowed you to do as well as you have? And second of all, it's 1 o'clock now. So you did mention you're kind of short on time. How much time do you have left?
I actually have a 1 o'clock, but I'll tell them I'm a little bit late here. But I want to give you those two and answer your questions. Those two questions.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing in switching that mindset was that I was never going to quit. 2008 was a turning point. I knew that I never wanted to feel like that ever again. Therefore, I just put my head down, and I knew that I'm not the smartest, I'm not the most talented, but if I keep with it and I listen to my coach and I become consistent, I will always make it through. And when you have these incremental, increases in your production, you're getting better every single year. But there's 1 year, I'm sorry. But there's 1 year when everything comes together. I'm sorry, hang on 1 second.
Okay.
Can you take Kaylee, please? Okay. I'm sure you'll edit this, right? That's cool.
I mean, it's not the end of the world. It's kind of cute, It's not like she's totally disrupting the episode. It's like, okay, whatever. A little bit of pauses.
She's loud though. I love you.
It's all right. I like my stuff to be natural and fluid. It's not the end of the world. If she accidentally threw up on your suit during the episode, I probably would not have edited that out.
That would be cool, actually.
It'd be hilarious. Okay. I mean, I'd feel bad for you, but it'd be funny. Okay.
Yeah. So what's that you'll have that 1 year when you have these incremental years, and then you have 1 year when everything comes together. The market, your systems are up and running. Your mindset is strong. I went from 85 transactions to 149 in 1 year.
Holy shit.
That was like a breakout year, but then, I had to go through these incremental years.
Right.
Right. So that was the switch for me, knowing that I never wanted to feel like that ever again. So I became relentless. I was just never going to stop.
Right. That's the secret. Right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So never give up. And all the younger agents, guys who are starting out right now, just never give up. If you never give up, right, never stop moving forward, you will become unstoppable. Right. Even if it's just 1% per day, don't discount the slow progress. You will make it.
Aaron said this. Aaron said, focus on laying brick by brick. Don't focus on having a wall built tomorrow. Focus on laying bricks, and eventually you'll have a very strong foundation.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, John, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate the time. I know we're a little short on time today, but nonetheless, I really appreciate it. It was fantastic knowledge and advice, and Kaylee's adorable.
Thank you.
And, man, I look forward to seeing you again on Wednesday. Whoever's listening to this, make sure to tune in. If you're a realtor, tune into Clubhouse. Follow John Tsai. Okay, that's JOHNTSAI. Aaron Novello. Novello is NOVELLO. Follow them, and there's also a Jose Luis Morales, but that's a long name. I'm gonna follow them on Clubhouse at 10 a.m. Eastern time. What is it? 7 a.m. Pacific.
7 a.m. Pacific. Yeah.
Right. Follow both of them. It's an incredible free meeting. Lots of value for an hour. And if you're in the Vancouver area or you're not, you can join John's coaching. You can also join Aaron's coaching, whichever you prefer, or both. And again, man, thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rafi.
Absolutely, brother.
Opportunity, my man. Have a good day. All right.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.